Hello, and welcome to Chabot News for April 27, 2022. My name is Jonathan, and in today's news, we will be covering a few cannabis stories, a Frida Kahlo prank night, a cleanup day in Hayward, and National Garlic Day. In entertainment, Stanley will discuss Bill Murray and Johnny Depp, and in sports, Andrew will cover Bay Area sports. All that and more coming up on Chabot News. In honor of 420 last week, we have tons of stories that have come out for you. So let's puff fast forward to this first story. Retired boxer Mike Tyson now has his own cannabis distribution line called Tyson 2.0.
We've been hiding this for so long, and it's like now you can just walk in and get it. It felt weird pulling in because the cops were right outside and I'm like copping weed, so it's like, it's crazy.
I remember the conversations in the 90s were completely different from today. You weren't talking about the medical benefits. You weren't talking about the differences between that and alcohol and the effects on the body. People are a lot more open, and I honestly would not have thought this day would have come.
Tyson announced his entrepreneurial endeavor at the San Francisco's 420 Cannabis Festival in Golden Gate Park. And now we know the cannabis company offers several strains of cannabis flower as well as ear-shaped edibles in reference to the former boxer's infamous 1996 match against Evander Holyfield. Weird flex, but I'm here for it. Tyson took to the stage saying he plans to take the industry to another level in life and stated that he is the world champion and now he's the world champion of cannabis as well. And we can't be stopped. He said, "Look at us. All of these people out here smoking weed and getting high. This is beautiful." This all took place only a day before Bloomfield, New Jersey had their first cannabis experience. When I think of Kentucky, I want to call up Colonel Sanders and order a 5-piece. But according to Dr. Jeff Fox of Kentucky, the benefits of medical marijuana can fight against glaucoma, anxiety, multiple sclerosis, muscle spasms, nausea, pain, and PTSD.
Dr. Jeff Fox pointed out the potential benefits of medical marijuana for Kentuckians.
Marijuana, or the chemical in marijuana, may help certain diseases: glaucoma, anxiety, multiple sclerosis, muscle spasm, nausea, pain, PTSD.
But he says it's the unknowns which give him pause for pushing legislation through.
For all those things I mentioned, we have other medications for them. The medications that have been studied and approved by the FDA. We know what dose to give. We know how to give it. We know what potential drug interactions occur.
Dr. Fox says the plant should have full FDA approval as a drug before he'll feel comfortable prescribing it to his own patients.
I would have to sit down and talk with the patient saying, this is what we know. This is what we don't know. This is the potential benefit. Are there no other treatment alternatives? Have you tried, the medicines that we recommend? And have a frank conversation.
As Governor Beshear works to explore options for executive action, Senate President Robert Stivers pointed to the General Assembly's efforts to establish research on the efficacy of medical cannabis. House Bill 604 would create a research center at UK, and Dr. Fox says that would be a step in the right direction.
Part of the problem with the cannabis all along is because of the class of drug. I mean, it's classified along with heroin in a lot of places. So the research, you have to have special licenses, and so there's been limited research.
Jeremy Toms, WKYT.
This is revolutionary, because when I was growing up, we only had ginger ale and Theraflu. But Dr. Fox says that the plant should have full FDA approval as a drug before he'll feel comfortable prescribing it to his own patients. Of course, we wouldn't want to be held liable for someone spiking a lasagna and causing an entire wedding party to hallucinate. As Governor Beshear works to explore options for executive action, Senate President Robert Stivers pointed to the General Assembly's efforts to establish research on the efficacy of medical cannabis. I know a lot of volunteers in the Bay Area ready to conduct some very extensive research studies. More to come from the folks down in Kentucky. It was definitely a high road to prison after a wedding left unsuspecting guests laced with herbs other than parsley and oregano. This particular occasion occurred at a wedding in Florida. Attendees reported feeling unsteady and paranoid after consuming meatballs, bread, olive oil, and Caesar salad. The wedding descended into chaos due to the guests not knowing that their food was laced with marijuana. Boom! That is a great way to gain a felony charge for a new bride and an experimenting caterer. Over 50 people started tripping after also scarfing down the lasagna, which was containing THC. Body cam footage released by the sheriff's office shows guests going off the rails as they arrived. "We have all been affected," one guest says. "Something was put in the food. The weed was so strong, a paranoid woman thought her son-in-law had died and her family didn't tell her what was going on." Here's what students at Chabot had to say about this incident.
If your family member is the type of person that will like take funny things, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's good, I guess. But then I feel like if your family member is like a strict person that don't even joke with anything, then I don't think that should be for you.
Don't get caught. Know your crowd. Know who you doing it to. You gonna do it to somebody that's not gonna tell on you.
When asked if he knew the food was laced, the groom stared with a quote and a blank expression and a few minutes saying, "No." That was definitely not his best moment. Now let's turn to Stanley with some entertainment.
Thanks, Jonathan. The nasty $50 million defamation trial between actors Johnny Depp and Amber Heard is set to start back up Monday. Depp is expected to be cross-examined about the testimony he gave last week. Depp's lawsuit against his ex-wife is in response to Heard's 2018 op-ed in the Washington Post about surviving domestic abuse. While she never mentioned Depp, he asserts it got him booted from his starring role in Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean series. The defense, however, says there was abuse by Depp in the marriage, and that he was a man full of rage and anger. Heard has not taken the stand. She has filed a $100 million defamation countersuit that is ongoing. Bill Murray's latest film has suspended production because of reports of his inappropriate behavior on set. Searchlight Pictures stopped filming the new movie, Being Mortal, on Wednesday after complaints filed by female cast members. The exact nature of the complaints have not been made public, and it is not known if the 71-year-old actor will return to the project. The movie marks the directorial debut of comedian Aziz Ansari and co-stars Seth Rogen. Murray was previously accused of misconduct on set 22 years ago by his Charlie Angels co-star Lucy Liu in a letter to the cast and crew. Searchlight Pictures indicates it hopes to resume production soon. Now back to Jonathan for more news.
Thanks, Stanley. These boots are made for walking, and apparently the billionaires are balling. Latest informants report that Elon of the Musk family has made a $44 billion payout to own the company in charge of our tweets. That's Twitter. That's right, folks. First it was Tesla, and now he's on to Twitter. Elon is racking up these T companies, and I'm sure he will have us all chirping again soon. Some relationships take a year to develop, but it took Elon 11 days to make this purchase after proposing the deal. There's a saying that if you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. Well, I can't wait to see how his next tweet solves global warming and the housing displacement. The deal will put the world's richest man in charge of one of the world's most influential social media platforms. Someone called Will Smith to reprise his role as the Detective Spooner in iRobot because, as Spillage Village has said so lyrically, it's the end of days and it's the end of times. My oh my. On March 24th, Chabot's El Centro celebrated Women's History Month by hosting a paint night to bring students together. Monica Olmedo, the current Hispanic Serving Institution coordinator of El Centro, which is an organization on Chabot that is committed to encouraging the Latin community, undocumented, and low-income students. El Centro coordinated the event around Frida Kahlo, a Mexico-born artist known for her many portraits and works inspired by the nature and artifacts of Mexico. The night was a success as students came together to take part in an in-person event again. All donations raised at the paint night were given to Ruby's Place in Castro Valley. The city of Hayward hosted its annual cleanup day on April 23rd, giving the community the opportunity to come together and clean up Hayward.
Many Hayward residents came out on Saturday to show their support and help clean up Hayward.
Oh, well, this is like somewhere I want to live and have kids grow up and stuff. So keeping it clean it's just it allows people to play and use the parks and stuff. And like, you know, I have a dog too walking around. I don't want him to eat something random on the floor either, you know, so it's just like, it's just nice.
A representative from the Keep Hayward Clean and Green Task Force had this to say.
To me, I guess it means just kind of getting together with the community to do these cleanup events and do planting events. It's kind of the main thing we do as a task force, but really it's about kind of creating a different sense of community and getting together to like participate.
Residents came out to register and pick up their gloves, vests, and litter grabbers before going out into the community and cleaning up. Davita Scott from Raising Leaders weighed in on what it means to her to keep Hayward clean.
What it means for me to keep Hayward clean is to lead by example, and I have created Raising Leaders workshops and internships, and my students and I have adopted 60 blocks in the city of Hayward, so we have continually picked up trash in our community and lead by example.
After the cleaning was finished, residents and volunteers came back to Weeks Park for a time to connect with one another and to chow down on a free lunch.
Made in Hayward!
And now let's go to Andrew for this week's sports.
Thanks, Jonathan. The NBA playoffs are in full swing with all first-round series nearing their conclusions. Most playoff matches are still undecided, with only the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat already winning and advancing to the second round. The Golden State Warriors look to close out the series against the Denver Nuggets in Game 6 after the Warriors failed to win Game 5 on Sunday, losing to the Nuggets 126-121. Here's some fans' thoughts on the loss.
I always see Warriors fans around here and stuff. I see the loyal fans, I see a lot of fair weather fans for sure. All of a sudden the Warriors, that's why I don't like Warriors fans, but I ain't gonna lie. There's just so many fair weather, people don't even play basketball and they're like, oh, all of a sudden you're a Warriors fan, But it's cool, I guess, whatever. Oh yeah, they for sure, I know they feel it. They're like, oh, the day ones, They're like, so, I feel for them though, but the other people, nah.
And so have you been watching any of the Warriors playoff games lately?
All of them.
All of them? How you think it's been? How you feeling?
Pretty good. Should have won yesterday, but it is what it is. Could close it out on Wednesday at home. I know on Twitter a lot of fans are going crazy, excited that the playoffs are finally back after a couple years missing it. So yeah.
And how you feeling? You think they got a shot to go all the way this year?
Yeah, I think they do. Things are starting to line up. Suns are looking like they might be in trouble. We probably have the most desirable path right now, but I think the best lineup would probably be the one that they call the death lineup with Curry, Poole, Clay, Wiggins, and then Draymond, and then just bring Looney off the bench from now on.
As we can see, the Golden State fans remain optimistic on the team's chances to make a deep playoff run this year. The first game in the Battle of the Bay series between the San Francisco Giants and the Oakland A's kicked off this Wednesday. The showdown took place in Giants' home stadium of Oracle Park, where the Giants took home the win with a score of 8-2. All-star pitcher Carlos Rodon continued his great play in his first season with the Giants as he pitched 6 innings and recorded 9 strikeouts. The Giants have also moved into first place in the division over the Dodgers now. Now, back to Jonathan with more news.
Thanks, Andrew. It's a staple in recipes for many cultures and is one of the most popular flavors in the world. Garlic. April 19th is National Garlic Day. This day is meant to celebrate the incredible taste of garlic and also to create awareness of garlic as a natural medicine. Here's some reactions from Chabot students and how they feel about garlic.
Oh, garlic. Oh, it's good for the heart.
I love garlic, but then I never heard of the festival. Yeah.
Yeah, I use it in steak and garlic, sausage and garlic.
Ice cream garlic?
Yeah.
You have garlic?
Yeah.
I'll try some garlic ice cream. Why not? I'll go ahead and mess it up.
Garlic is often touted as being a herbal remedy for colds and to reduce blood pressure and cholesterol. Some even believe this stinking rose can ward off evil spirits and vampires. So consider making a meal with garlic or having some garlic bread for dinner. Or, for more serious garlic lovers, check out Gilroy, California, the garlic capital of the world. The town has a festival, gifts, and crafts all centered around the theme of garlic. They even serve garlic ice cream. Now let's go to Wisteria with this week's top 5.
Thank you, Jonathan. Today we'll be discussing the top 5 plagues. Number 5, the Antonine Plague of 165 AD. Death toll 5 million. Cause unknown, also known as the Plague of Galen and the Antonine plague was an ancient pandemic that affected Asia Minor, Egypt, Greece, and Italy, and is thought to have been either smallpox or measles, though the true cause is still unknown. This unknown disease was brought back to Rome by the soldiers returning from Mesopotamia around 165 AD. Unknowingly, they had spread a disease which would end up killing over 5 million people and disseminating the Roman army. Plague number 4. The plague of Justine, 541 through 542. Death toll 25 million. Cause bubonic plague. Thought to have killed perhaps half the population of Europe, the plague of Justine was an outbreak of the bubonic plague that affected the Byzantine Empire and Mediterranean port cities, killing up to 25 million people in its year-long reign of terror, generally regarded as the first recorded incident of the bubonic plague. The plague of Justine left its mark on the world, killing up to a quarter of the population of the eastern Mediterranean and devastating the city of Constantinople, where at its height it was killing an estimated 5,000 people per day and eventually resulting in the deaths of 40% of the city's population. 3. HIV/AIDS pandemic. At its peak in the years 2005 to 2012, the death toll was 36 million. Cause HIV/AIDS first identified in Democratic Republic of the Congo in 1976. HIV/AIDS has truly proven itself as a global pandemic, killing more than 36 million people since 1981. Currently, there are between 31 and 35 million people living with HIV. The vast majority of those are in sub-Saharan Africa, where 5% of the population is infected, roughly 21 million people. As awareness has grown, new treatments have been developed that make HIV far more manageable, and many of those infected go on to lead productive lives. Between 2005 and 2012, the annual global deaths from HIV/AIDS dropped from 2.2 million to 1.6 million. Number 2, pandemic. Flu pandemic of 1918. The death toll was 20 to 50 million. Cause influenza between 1918 and 1920. A disturbingly deadly outbreak of influenza tore across the globe, infecting over a third of the world's population and ending the lives of 20 to 50 million people. Of the 500 million people infected in the 1918 pandemic, the mortality rate was estimated at 10% to 20%, with up to 25 million deaths in the first 25 weeks alone. What separated the 1918 flu pandemic from other influenza outbreaks was the victims were influenza and always previously only killed juveniles and the elderly or already weakened patients. It had begun striking down hardy and completely healthy young adults while leaving children and those with weaker immune systems still alive. The number 1 pandemic, the Black Death, 1346 to 1353, death toll 75 to 200 million. Cause bubonic plague. From 1346 to 1353, an outbreak of the plague ravaged Europe, Africa, and Asia with an estimated death toll between 75 and 200 million people. Thought to have originated in Asia, the plague most likely jumped continents via the fleas living on the rats that so frequently lived aboard merchant ships. Ports, being major urban centers at the time, were the perfect breeding ground for the rats and fleas, and thus the insidious bacterium flourished, devastating 3 continents in its wake. A side note, cholera is a very dangerous pandemic that has been around since 1817 through 1923 and 1961 to 1991. There have been a total of 7 cholera pandemics. Although cholera isn't listed as one of the top 5 pandemics, it could very well be one of the top 5. Cholera has killed more than 800,000 people over the years. And now back to Jonathan.
Thanks, Wisteria. Finally, in lighter week news, this week is time to grab your skates because New York City is rolling back to the 1970s with the latest attraction, a roller skating rink. This is Flipper's Roller Boogie Place in Rockefeller Center. It's one of New York's most iconic destinations during the holidays. This iconic plaza is home to the famous Christmas tree and ice skating rink. Now it's being transformed into a summer's hotspot. The rink officially opened Friday, attracting dozens of skaters. The roller skating rink will be open April through October, 7 days a week. Adult tickets start at $20, not including the skate rentals. That's all for Chabot News this week. Thanks to all the students and the staff in the Mass Communications Department here at Chabot College for making this production possible. You can watch us anytime online at youtube.com/ChabotTV. Stay tuned to KCTH Channel 27 for more Chabot TV.